Hey guys, they did it. They finally announced the next generation of Pokemon, Pokemon Winds and Waves, and it looks like we are officially getting a water-dominant mainline Pokemon game. And if those early internet leaks were anything to go by, yeah, the rumors were right. This is absolutely shaping up to be our very first ocean-based Pokemon game. And if you're hyped for this next generation already, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to Lunar Arcade for more Pokemon breakdowns and reactions, and let me know in the comments what starter you're leaning toward. We're going to be covering this game all the way up to 2027. Okay, first impressions, the water. The water engine alone looks like a night and day difference compared to the previous generation on Switch, and even the Switch 2 upgrade version. The reflections, the wave physics, the way Pokemon move through it, it looks alive. And that alone already tells me this is going to be a very different kind of Pokemon experience. They put a lot of focus on the ocean in this trailer, but what really caught my attention was the underwater exploration. They were very careful and showed just enough to tease it, glimpses of diving, darker water, light filtering down, but they hid the actual mechanics, which is either genius marketing or they're still polishing it. Because let's be honest, underwater gameplay can either be amazing or it can be slow, clunky, and frustrating. And with Pokemon Legends ZA not being the very best that Game Freak has to offer, I really hope this game does a lot better. At the very least, it looks like it's going in a completely different direction, which is a good thing. So I'm very curious to see how this is going to play in action. Now, even though water is clearly the main focus, land is not being left out. It looks like we're getting gigantic islands, maybe even a chain of islands connected together, almost like an archipelago region. That opens up so many possibilities. Swamp zones, dense jungle areas, rocky cliffs, volcanic islands. It almost feels like they're combining ocean traversal with open world land exploration in a way we haven't seen before. Which brings up the huge question, how much freedom are we actually going to have? Because visually, this looks like they're promising freedom on the level of Scarlet and Violet, maybe even more. Now here's the part I'm really watching closely. Catching mechanics. They showed the character throwing a Pokeball and catching a Pikachu, but they very cleverly avoided showing whether you have to battle first. So the big question is, are we going back to traditional battle first captures, or are we getting the Pokemon Legends Arceus style mechanics? Because while Scarlet and Violet are fun, I was disappointed that it didn't have the catching mechanics of Arceus that I've grown accustomed to love. Because let's be honest, almost everyone wants that Arceus catching system back. Being able to sneak, aim, throw, capture in real time, that felt modern, it felt immersive, it felt like they were actually giving us what we actually wanted for years. But I could also see them reserving that style for future Legends games instead of mainline games. If they combine open world islands, plus underwater exploration, plus Arceus catching mechanics, this could be the most ambitious Pokemon game ever made. It certainly looks like they're headed in that direction. And I have to mention this, compared to the recent city-based Pokemon game on Switch 2, the one that got a lot of backlash, this already looks like a completely different level of effort. A lot of people criticized that game for feeling bare bones. You couldn't walk into most buildings, NPCs felt lifeless, it felt like a skeleton of a world with Pokemon placed on top of it. I haven't personally bought it yet, but mostly because I didn't want to drop $70 on something that looked, well, empty. But Wind and Waves, this already feels more alive, more dynamic, and more like an actual ecosystem. I really wasn't a fan of ZA being stuck in a city. That's another thing that killed it for me. Now let's talk about the starters. Personally, I think they're super adorable, and I can't decide between the fire type and the water type this time around. But the designs feel clean, classic Pokemon energy, not overly designed, not overly complicated, just filled with lots of personality and charm. Which is a good sign, because starter designs set the tone for the entire generation typically. These games have a global release for 2027, which honestly tells me one thing. They're taking their time, and after their performance criticism of the last few entries, that's probably smart. If they nail the optimization, if they can deliver on underwater gameplay, if the islands feel alive and explorable in a really fun way, if the catching mechanics evolve, this could redefine mainline Pokemon. But that's a lot of ifs. Here's a direct comparison between Violet and Waves that has been circulating online, and you can clearly see the difference here. It is a night and day difference. The texture on both rocks is still low, but there's definitely more detail on the version for Waves. But just looking at Violet, you can kind of see how lifeless things actually look. You don't realize how lifeless things are until you look at Waves. Now, this is not to take a crap on Scarlet and Violet, but there was probably a limitation when they were working on the original Switch version, whereas Waves and Winds is a Switch 2 exclusive, so they don't really have to worry anymore about developing for the first Switch. So now they can utilize all the power that they can for Winds and Waves on the Switch 2. Overall, first impressions are very strong. The water engine looks incredible, underwater exploration has huge potential, the island setting opens up a ton of biome variety, starters are promising, catching mechanics are still a mystery, and for once I feel cautiously optimistic. Not blindly hyped, but optimistic. Let me know in the comments, which starter are you going to run with? Do you want Arceus style catching mechanics back? And are you actually excited for underwater Pokemon gameplay? If you enjoyed this breakdown, hit subscribe to Lunar Arcade, turn on notifications, and I'll see you in the next episode. If you're into JRPGs, check out my game reviews playlist. I've covered everything from hidden gem titles to some big name heavy hitters. We've got a long wait until 2027, but I have a feeling this one might be worth it. Thank you guys for watching. This is Lunar, signing off.